Welcome back, fellow agents. X7 here, your Supermarionated. That didn't work right. Your host of Awesome and the host of Zenorama, the podcast of Heroes and Monsters. This is our 248th episode, which means in 2 days on Super 7-Song Friday, it is Super, there will be a 250th episode celebration. But today, we're going to talk about a Supermarionation show called Fireball XL5, which I believe was the second one after Supercar. But I'm not 100% sure. Let me see if I can scroll down here and see what it says about that. But here's a little more of the intro.
Okay, Venus?
Okay, Steve.
Right. Let's go.
So that music there is by, I didn't get to the answer I wanted to because I'm going back up here. The music there is by Barry Gray, who also did much of the Supermarionation work. I'm looking to see here if we can get marionette films, robots. Oh my gosh, just tell me. Now let's look at Gary Anderson and see which one came first. Film, television. Supercar, Fireball. I was right. Beauty. Okay, so Fireball is all about the exploits of, let me get back up here to the characters, Colonel Steve Zodiac, voiced by Paul Maxwell. It is set in the faraway year of 2063, which was 100 years from when it was broadcast in 1960. When does that say? 1962 to 1963. Oh, it's set in 2062. So it ends in 2063, assuming these 39 episodes go sort of semi-chronologically. Anyway, our heroes are the Colonel Steve Zodiac, of course, and he's kind of the sheriff of outer space. And he's also declared the astronaut of the year in one of the episodes. Dr. Venus, who is voiced by Sylvia Anderson, Gary Anderson's wife at the time, who would also voice the amazing Lady Penelope. And she is a doctor of space medicine. So a wide range of medicine there. She's French, of French origin. Zodiac apparently selected her personally to be a member of the XL5 crew, and she's been on there for at least 5 years. So there's our doctor, and our next, the next one was Professor Matt Matic, voiced by David Graham. He's the engineer. He doesn't think the ship's engines can take it anymore, but he sounds more like Gabby Hayes. And Robert the robot, who is voiced by Gary Anderson through an artificial larynx, or as Deputy Fife would say, larynx, or something to that effect. He's the co-pilot, and he's transparent, which is kind of cool. And of course, there is the useless Zoonie the Lazoon, which is kind of a monkey thing who can sort of talk as the English, but he mimics other characters. He's Venus's lazy, semi-telepathic pet from the planet Calivio. I have no use for him. He's just there to cause trouble, and he's the MacGuffin that moves a lot of things. Commander Wilbur is voiced by John Bluthal, and then Lieutenant 90, voiced by David Graham, also Matt Matic. But he's the cadet, or he gets yelled at a lot by Commander Wilbur. Got a few recurring characters and a lot of villains, like the subterranes. That's weird. And Mr. and Mrs. Boris and Griselda Space Spy. A villainous husband and wife pair of Russian origin. Who first appear in the episode Spy in Space. That's number 5. This would have been on, I don't know if Rocky and His Friends, the original title of The Adventures of Bullwinkle and His Friends was on yet. It was broadcast in England. You would think it would have. It would be cheap to export it over there, but you just never know. And so there's our setup. They go around Sector 25. XL5 is their gigantic spaceship. It's huge. It's got a Fireball Junior or something to that effect that it can. It's a takeoff and vertical landing. So it's the nose cone. It's a pretty. I mean the effects in here and the marionettes, the models are amazing. They don't do a lot of optical stuff. Maybe some fog here and there. Fireball Junior is what they take to the planet, and then they've got these cute little space rockets they ride around in. And I believe there probably are weapons until it travels through space at sublight, but then it's got a Newtomic reactor, which provides a maximum safe speed of space velocity 7, which is probably what you hear when it blasts off. There it goes. Ship go fast. Make ship go fast now. As G-forces will. I'm sure this ship this big enough can probably have its own gravity somehow. So the crew don't wear spacesuits. Pardon me. They wear. They take oxygen pills, kind of like Oxygum, except that gives them, the power to breathe in outer space and not get frozen instantly and talk. And even though in space no one can hear you scream, which is not a lie, I must say. And then they use jetpacks to maneuver about. And they're so they don't have to worry about putting on suits all the time, which I think is a pretty darn good idea. So they run around Sector 25 and protect the inhabitants, stopping invaders and such. There are at least 30 of these XL ships, but of course Fireball XL5. I doubt they're all called Fireball. They might have different names, Comet, Meteor, things like that. One would hope. And they do a good job. This is the only Supermarionation show other than Thunderbirds that I've watched all the way through. I've tried to get through Captain Scarlet. Not that I don't want to watch it, but I just haven't been able to. And Stingray, which I think is a lot of fun. But the more advanced the animatronics got, and their heads are huge. They're like virtual planetoids. Dig that swinging 60s sound. So yeah, their heads are huge, but that's part of the charm. The closer they got, after Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet especially, they're all in proportion. Everything's in proportion because the robotics, for lack of a better word, the machines that made their lips move and their eyes and everything could, it shrunk down enough that they didn't have to make them so big. So everything became properly, they looked proper. They looked like humans. But then I think, well, why not just do it with people? Shoot people doing it. And, they did, I don't even know, maybe even this one, they would use hands, full-size hands, when they needed to open and close things or push buttons or hold, which works really well because you don't even think about it. The scripts are fun, so you really don't say, oh, it's puppets, they look ridiculous, kind of hopping about. You're just like, wow, it's just cool. Fireball was the only show ever syndicated, not even syndicated, sold directly to NBC was sold to NBC. It was the only one of the Anderson shows, which is amazing because you'd think that Thunderbirds or some of the later ones in color would have been there. Those were syndicated, but it ran from their Saturday morning children's block from 63 to 65, and it ran 39 episodes, which gave it 8 more episodes than Thunderbirds. But Thunderbirds was an hour, so it could be split up into more if needed to be. It ran until 75 on ITV network, and that's pretty great considering it's black and white. It's available on. It was released on DVD in 2003. I'm tempted to get it, but then I think, well, I've only watched the first disc of my Thunderbirds, which is great. So it's a lot of fun. Now, it's enjoyable, so as long as you don't take it seriously, because But the sets are amazing to watch. They go to lost planets. They go to forbidden planets. The robot has to rescue them, and they've got a husband and wife Russian team to battle against on occasion. They go back in time even. So they shot the film with both the future in mind and an international audience, because Steve sounds like just like I guess as an international accent, which means not a British one. And okay, so I'm saving the end theme because it's the Fireball theme song, which of course just runs over the end credits and is only about a minute long. It's not even that; it's 30 seconds long. So they do have a full one which runs about 2 minutes, and at the very last episode, Steve gets to sing his own theme song, which at the very end, the robot, everyone's playing an instrument and they're bopping around. But I'm saving that till the end. That's what we're going to go out with. So once again, the effects are very well done. They're all in camera with miniatures. There probably are some animation, rotoscoping. It says it used the first TV series to employ front projection-based visual effects. I think that's a lot of fancy words for an optical fog, but you just never know. They really do a good job here. The theme song "Fireball" was arranged by Charles Blackwell and performed by Don Spencer. It was a minor hit, and it has been parodied other places, I believe, on British television, because they like to make fun of the marionette, the way that they walk and hold their hands. You've seen Team America. Is that what it's called? Team America, Matt and Trey's stuff, which your humble agent has never seen. Not that I wouldn't watch it, I just never gotten around to do it. So other than that, this is just a fun little show, and I highly recommend it if you can get around to seeing it. It's probably on Amazon. I rented the discs from Netflix way back in the day when they still had discs. So it was fun to watch, and I don't know, once again, how many. I don't even know if it's still on sale. It might be. It's not on Blu-ray yet, at least not that I've noticed. So agents, just remember, this is your host X7 signing off. 3 more episodes until 250. Well, it'll be songs, so can't do anything about that. But remember, until our next assignment, just remember that you'll never be the fastest man alive, but you can dream about it. Until our next adventure, X7 signing off.
I wish I was a spaceman, the fastest guy alive. I'd fly you around the universe in Fireball XL5. Way out in space together, conquers of the sky. My heart would be a fireball every time